I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Round Town Board. This is the meeting of Thursday, July 18th, and ask our clerk, Christian Sampson, to call the roll.
Councilman Friedman?
Here.
Councilman Logan?
Here.
Councilman Deputy Supervisor Withers? Councilman Ullman?
Here.
Deputy Commissioner Hunter? Supervisor St. Leonard?
Here. I'd like to ask Councilman Friedman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the very first item we're going to do on the agenda is going to be some personnel items, and I'd like to recognize our Director of Personnel, Linda Condon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item 4A is a resolution to appoint Eileen Samarone, Records Management Assistant in the Town Clerk's Office, effective July 29th.
Moved by
Logan?
Councilwoman Logan, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations. Come on up, Eileen. You have it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Eileen has been working with us for 8 years, and will be going from the assessor's office across the hall into the town clerk's office. So congratulations. And congratulations for scoring so high on the test. Well done.
Item 4B is a resolution to appoint Karen Gerard, permanent real property appraiser assistant,
Move.
effective July 19th.
Moved by
Logan?
Councilwoman Logan, seconded by
Friedman.
Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations, Karen. Come on up. And congratulations, Karen, and congratulations for your great score on the test as well. Well done. Linda?
Item 4C is a resolution to appoint Paul Lublinetsky, Assessing Clerk 1, effective September 3rd, 2013.
Moved by
Logan?
Councilwoman Logan, seconded by
Friedman.
Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
3 yes, 1 no.
And I'm not opposed to the person, I'm opposed to hiring a worker. So if Mr. Paul is here, I'm not against him, God forbid, I don't know him, I'm against the position that we shouldn't be hiring someone.
Okay, and just so you know, the assessor's office is down 2.5 positions, and we're substituting 1 position for those 2.5, so we do get a net savings on that. All those, it's a vote of 3 to 1. Okay. Linda, is that it, or?
The last one you want to do? Item 4D. Item 4D is a resolution to appoint Linda Condon, Personnel Administrator, effective July 19th.
Is that based on your recommendation?
Yes, I hold her in high esteem.
Logan.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations, Linda. And congratulations on you receiving a high score on your test.
Thank you. And that's it for personnel.
Okay. All right, so now we'll go over to the number 1 item on the agenda, and that's police matters. Chief?
Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
Look at the statistics for June this year compared to the last year, as well as second set of statistics, and that'll be for the first 6 months of this year. Compared to the first 6 months of last year.
I need one of the first ones. Yeah. And one for Fran.
You want to go to the first handout, which is June of 12 to June of 13. You could go down the
Is this the
list.
second one?
There's not much deviation between the two months. If you have any questions, be
Can I
glad
get these go
to
down the line?
respond.
Okay.
Are we good now?
So that's it?
Two different. Sorry, Chief, 1 second.
All right,
Anytime.
that's it.
Okay, what sheet are you on?
Okay, we're going from June 12th
Okay.
and June of 12, we'll compare it to June of 13.
Okay.
You could go down the two columns. As I mentioned, there's not a lot of deviation between the two. A few things I would like to point out. Under the accidents, as you know, we've instituted a pedestrian safety program for the last 6 or 7 years, and it's refreshing to see in June of 12, we had 8 pedestrian-involved accidents, and June of 13, we only had 2.
Yeah, how many people do you touch in the course of the year? It was a big number, wasn't it, Chief?
It is. It's in the thousands. I can get that information.
Well,
But we
just-
usually
just-
supply it at the end of the year. We'll tell you how we enter the schools and give lessons to the different students. We'll
And
have
the
that.
senior clubs and across
Yes,
the
sir.
board, so you really
We do.
get out in the community
We do.
as a community policing.
Yes.
That's a great number, Chief, from 8 to 2.
Yes. I hope it continues.
Yep.
And then the only other numbers that there is some deviation, we have traffic summonses have been down this year. We'll try to spend a little bit more time in traffic enforcement. Cell phone summonses are down considerably, and once again, we'll try to spend a little bit more time there. We historically received grants to enforce cell phone violations, and those grants are starting to dry up, so we'll just have to pick up the load on the patrol end. Basically, that's covers that sheet, and then the second sheet, we are comparing the first 6 months of the year.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Because, and maybe I'll recognize Deputy Commissioner Hunter on the cell phones and texting, because it's really something that's big in the news, and I know even the governor is working on it, and I know, Fran, did you want to speak about this? Mona, would you slide that mic down a little closer to the Deputy Commissioner?
Thank you. What I'd like to do is to hand out.
That's good. It's
enough
a
here.
direct,
There are enough here for the town board and for the police. I think it was very important. This just came out in this morning's Journal News. I think that article says it all. Just look at the title itself. Something needs to be done, and what I'm concerned about in talking with the town attorney, they're talking about plea downing the arrest for cell phones and texting, and I'm strongly against it. I ride around with the officers, as you know, and I don't think it's fair that we're going to plea down something that the governor, and if you haven't seen, here's another article, New York targets drivers who text, and New York campaign to crack down on texting while driving. I don't think this should be compared to people who are speeding. I think this is more important. They have targeted to a group that's usually 18 to 26 years old that are doing this. And I think if they learn the lesson early, then it will cut down on many accidents that will happen later. For example, it stands out that these are the people who are doing the texting the most. The governor said 5 points. I think when you take 5 points on someone's record of driving, they will think twice. I see the cell phone people coming in. I go to the court and I look at the list when Helen has set it up for the afternoon or the morning. Lo and behold, every other person on there is for a cell phone. Some people actually laugh about it. Some officers have told me that they stop people. He said, oh, I've stopped him before, I've stopped him before. It's no big deal to the people that are out there using their cell phones. Now, if the governor says changing it from 3 points to 5 points. I don't think our town attorney should decide, or the town board should decide, that we're going to go with 3 points. That is not the way the law was designed. That's not what the law is all about. I think we should stick to it. We don't plead down school buses. Impossible. If you're caught passing a school bus, and I've been in cars when it's happened, they know automatically. That's 5 points. And this is the way I feel about texting. You get caught texting or using your cell phone, you will learn a lesson, a hard lesson to learn. But look how many lives you're going to save, especially if you read that article that I just handed out to you. This young lady lost her parents because he was texting or using his cell phone and went through a red light. And this has got to stop. And I think it stops with the town of Ramapo if you are willing, or your town board is willing to say, we're not going to plead down texting violations. Distraction while texting is a very serious crime. It's more important you kill more people doing that. And as I said before, I gave the supervisor a list of some of the various facts and statistics that he can share with you if he wishes to do so concerning texting. So I'm appealing to not only the police department, but more so to the town board, since you are the ones that have to make the decision. Are you going to allow your town attorneys to plead down texting? And it's only when they're moving. If they're sitting at a stoplight and they're not moving, I think you'll notice even in what the governor has said, that's one thing. But someone did arrest someone recently. They pulled up next to this person, one of your police officers, I'm not going to name the person, and the person was texting, no, we're using a cell phone. The light changed, the person pulled off, they're driving now they're texting, going wild, and she was arrested for texting. So we're going to be getting more of those, and when the word gets out that, hey, the town of Ramapo is going to give you 5 points, and they will think twice about texting and using their cell phone. As I said before, I'm pleading with you. Please, please, don't let this pleading down affect people who are texting or using their cell phones. It is dangerous, and believe me, you're going to see more of it. But at the same time, it's going to not be as prevalent once the word gets out. You're not going to get a plea bargain. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. And Chief, maybe we could, as we've done with pedestrians, maybe we should try to craft a plan to educate people too, on the first side of it. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. People know it, and people still are doing it, and it is very dangerous. We all know that, and that's why the law was put in place. But maybe we should think of some coordinated plan too with your department. It doesn't have to be right now, Chief, but you could.
No, well, I think you've asked me to do that in the past, Mr. Supervisor, and we've begun. As a matter of fact, Stacy Good gave a presentation to our 2 high schools, Suffern High School and Ramapo High School. And it was emotional, and I believe it had an impact on the students. She spoke from experience, and we will continue. Part of the enforcement process is education. So we will continue that, and this is not the first time you asked me to do that, Mr. Supervisor, and we are going to respond. But I know that the school appreciated her presentation. I was there for both presentations, and it's, as I said, emotional. And I'm glad Mrs. Hunter brought that to our attention, and we will not avoid our responsibility.
Okay. Back to your numbers, Chief.
Okay, so we'll go to the first 6 months of 12, and we'll compare them to the 6 months in 13. Once again, there's not a lot of deviation. The pedestrians, once again, is down by, I guess that's 50%. I think Councilman Freeman will be able to give you that number there, 12 to 26. Our police-involved accidents are down considerably as well, so those are pretty good statistics there. If you meander down to the lower part of the document, crimes are down, burglaries are down, larcenies are down, assaults are up a little bit, criminal mischief is up a little bit, robberies down, and sex crime pretty much the same, and we had 2 homicides. The one homicide, we made an arrest, and that's in the middle of being prosecuted right now. The other homicide occurred probably about 6 weeks to 2 months ago, and we have a person of interest, and we are certainly investigating that one. The summonses are down. School bus summonses are up, which is good, but the cell phones are down, and we, as I mentioned, will continue to spend a little bit more of our patrol day in that one. I don't know if you have any other questions on either one of those.
No, Commissioner Logan?
Chief, a couple of the school bus drivers have called in to ask, why are they getting tickets? And I don't know, I'm assuming that the school bus company has the school buses checked to make sure, safety-wise, that they're okay for the children. When a school bus gets a ticket, what do they get a ticket for doing? I'm just trying to clarify.
It could be anything that anybody else would receive as summons for, speeding and stop sign and red light, or they may have a violation of DOT. They have to have certain equipment there and certain documents, certain inspections. So I don't know what,
Okay.
we'd have to identify that.
So a school bus, in fact, could be speeding,
Absolutely.
and they, in essence, will get a ticket.
Matter of fact, I'm going to mention my second part here, the B part of it. I went to some community events, and I have received a complaint about speeding school buses.
Okay. All right, I'll be sure to make sure that information goes back to the bus companies and tell them to tell their drivers to slow down. I
Well,
think what happens is they become behind schedule because the
They
children
may.
may not be at the bus stop, or they may try to delay
Right.
because someone they know is coming who's not there. And those minutes add up to almost maybe a half an hour where the bus is not coming into the depot on time. So they try to make up for it, but they forget the safety aspect of
Yes.
waiting, making sure that they're not speeding with the children on the bus, or just if they're by themselves.
Chief, let me
Yes.
speak to that. I recently was in a car with a police officer, and a school bus passed another school bus. And when you asked about tickets, he got a ticket because he was going around in a dangerous curve when he passed. He got a ticket for endangering the lives of the children because there were children on the school buses. And he even went so far as, after talking to the driver, he called the company that the driver works for to inform him that he needed to re-educate this driver as to his responsibilities. So our officers are right on target as to
Absolutely.
what they're doing concerning that situation.
I'll be sure to relay that message.
Well, I think sometimes it's a matter of education, too, to
Right,
the drivers. I mean,
again,
I've been over,
Someone must have passed out my notes. You guys are about three lines ahead of me.
and one of the things that I notice on the school buses is that they use these yellow lights and red lights. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And sometimes they're driving along for a long distance with these yellow lights on, and I stop, or, you don't, and it's confusing, I think, to the public as to, am I supposed to stop now? And they're kind of coasting into a stopping area and putting prematurely on, I think, some of those lights sometimes, but, and as far as, they have to stop and wait, and they're slow on the bus, that's the way it is when you pick up kids. Some kids don't, I know when I was a kid, I'd be inside crying, no, I don't want to go to school. And then Hap Conklin would be out waiting there, beeping the horn. Go ahead, Chief.
Any other questions on those documents?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. And the B portion is the community events. The one that's worthwhile mentioning is I went to the Village of Vermont meeting, I think it was this Monday, and they had some comments to make. They want us to spend a little bit more time enforcing speed in their community. They talked about a net drive. A net drive, as you know, is right off Cherry Lane, and at the end of the net is the ball field. So I'm sure that parents picking up children might exceed the speed limit. I don't know if it's as prevalent as they feel, but we're going to pay attention to that area. They talked about...
Well, I think Officer Proctor lives not far from there. Maybe he could spend more time in his yard.
We have complaints about parking on Laura and Murray Drives, talk about cars parking in the wrong direction, and also on Muncie Heights Road. So we'll spend a little time on that, but I want to get to the school buses.
I would, next time, when you mention Muncie Heights Road, I mean, you could ask the Village of Airmont to start cutting the brush around their stop signs and things, because, they don't use the town's highway department anymore, and I noticed that as I drive around, that there's a lot of stop signs that are covered up, and one on Muncie Heights Road is a perfect example of it, right there by 59, so they should be
mention it.
looking, our guys should be
Okay.
letting them know that there are some visual obstructions to some of the street signs.
And coming full circle about the school buses, while I was there, they were complaining about school bus speeding. Now, about 8 months to a year ago, I had a school bus company come into the office and ask me to help with motorists passing school buses. And we put the word out to our offices, and we had some success. Now I have a complaint about the school buses speeding, so I'm going to ask you, Ms. Logan, if you have the name of the company. I'm going to have a few of the companies come in, and as I suggested with the texting, education and enforcement go hand in hand. I'll have them in the office and talk to them about how we receive complaints about them speeding. So I said that to the mayor in Airmont, if she's going to get me the name of the school buses that are servicing that area, and we'll call them in and we'll talk to the owners or the managers and tell them to put the word out to the drivers, and hopefully they'll comply with what we're asking them to do.
And there are a lot of different camps now that are out there,
Camps.
so that's, a lot of times you
And of
get
course-
different drivers in the camps, and
What I did tell them is that every school bus has a phone number in the back, so that if they can't get the name quickly, they get the phone number, and then we'll know who it owns, and then we'll ask, as I said, the manager or the owner to come in, and we'll have a little training session.
well, since we've been talking a little bit about speed, I don't want to chop up your entire presentation, Chief.
No, so you're
But
doing great.
Deputy Commissioner Hunter had a conversation with me earlier this week that we wanted to bring up for the whole town board that had to do with, not with the license plate readers on our car, but with the mounted on the dashboard. And Fran, would you like to comment, or you want me to?
I suggested to the supervisor that it would be nice to have more than just one mounted radar in the patrol cars. I got information off the website concerning two particular companies, but then in talking with the supervisor, we thought it would be better if we either invited a vendor to come in or loan us a unit for us, the Ramapo Police Department, to make a decision as to whether or not you would like to have more, and if so, who has the best unit. You could also compare this to the unit that you already have. I don't know what the company is that we have. It's mounted in car 416, if I'm not mistaken. I've been out with an officer who has used it, and I assure you, your officers are professionals. They're not going to do anything that will endanger their health or their situation or the car that is speeding. I've been out with them. I've seen them use this radar, and it is very effective. I just feel that more than one would certainly be helpful. While I'm talking, I just will deal with the window tinting equipment. I spoke with Lieutenant Gravina concerning this, and he has been kind enough to have ordered a couple of more. My feeling is, since they are as inexpensive as they are, there should be one for every car, and I'll tell you why this is important. The officers really discover many more things going on. Just recently, it happened on the thruway. The officer stopped for one thing and opened up the door, and there was drugs and other things going on. This gives the officer a legal reason for stopping the individual. And you'd be surprised what they will find because they stop them for the tinted windows. Now, they're so inexpensive. You should have one in every patrol car. That means you need 10, because that's how many are usually out on patrol, if I'm not mistaken. I checked with Lieutenant Gravina this morning. They are less than $150. We only had 2. Lieutenant Gravina ordered some more. I'm not going to say how many, but he knows and I know. And I would like to see that increase to order a few more so that there's one in every car. Keeping in mind, you're dealing with the safety of a community. And if you want to be safe and know what's going on, you've got a legal, legitimate reason for stopping the car if they have tinted windows. And as I said before, you'd be surprised what else you might find.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Lieutenant Gravina, how many more do we think we would need? Would we need 8, or would you think that would be the appropriate number?
We probably need 6 more.
6 more?
6 more. All right.
What
To
is
make
the
a
device?
motion to, we should get 6 more.
The delivery and everything can come out $170 each.
What, it's an electronic device, it's a measuring, what is
It
that?
measures the, actually, we had a presentation by the officer at our last meeting, Officer Hudak, and as to it measures the tinting on the side windows, the rear windows, what's allowed per
It's
vehicle.
an electronic device?
It's a little device, yeah.
It's electronic
Yeah,
senses it.
yeah. So it is important. It's also important for the safety of an officer, so if he's approaching a car in a stop, he can see if there's something going on. If somebody was reaching for a handgun or something of that nature, they'd be able to see it. And it's also the law. So we have a motion by Commissioner Friedman, second by Commissioner Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. So we'll get 6 more of those. And to the Deputy Commissioner's first point on the mounted, yeah, I guess it's safer. I know we have handheld, you know, as a matter of fact, I just passed the handheld on, I think it was on Spook Rock Road.
At 48, yes, Mr. Supervisor.
Yeah. On Spook Rock Road. And I know they were pulling cars over on Spook Rock Road and also on Airmont Road. So it does make sense, doesn't it, Chief? Do you want to assign a lieutenant to do some
We'll look
research
into that
into
and see how
vendors
many we should get
and see how many
Right.
more mounted?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's an excellent idea.
Actually, Fran, Deputy Commissioner, you spoke about one other thing, an item, and that was defibrillators. And presently, we have some of the older model defibrillators. And how many more defibrillators would we need to kind of?
5 and, is it 5 and 3?
We have a total of 8,
A total of 8, so it's 5 old ones and 3 new
the
ones.
new version, correct.
And Lieutenant Gravino, have you reviewed it to see whether we should stay with the same company, or do you want some time and report back to us and upgrading the defibrillators to the newer models?
No, I think the companies, they're on the state bid that the company to deal with. We could certainly upgrade several of the older models. They do work, they're all functional, but the newer ones are much more user-friendly and
And we've had some officers that have saved lives with the defibrillators.
Yes.
And because really, the police are the first responders, the first of the first responders at a scene. I know we've had officers that have had life-saving awards for utilizing the defibrillators. So we have 5 old ones and 3 new ones. You like the new ones, the company that we're using? I guess we should stay somewhat current, and as long as our officers have been educated on those models. And so how many more would you think we should get? 5 more to replace the old ones, or? Because I'll tell you, even with the old ones, there are probably other areas we could put more defibrillators. We have defibrillators at the golf course and at the ballpark and at the St. Lawrence Center, where people are out there actively doing things. And we have one here at the town hall. So maybe we could put more of the older ones in other buildings throughout the town and upgrade what our police officers are driving around with. Would you want to report back to us as what you think would be the appropriate number?
Yes.
Or Chief, is that all right to, I don't want, it's your job, Charlie. I didn't want to take your job, to assign
No,
it.
you're doing great. So I got my notes. It's doing great, no problem.
Thank you, Chief.
Next week, I'll be here.
I think the supervisor pointed out, and I think all of you are very much aware of the fact, that officers arrive before the paramedics, because the call comes into the dispatcher, and the dispatcher tells the police officer where to go. When he gets there, that's when he calls the paramedics, so they might get there at the same time. But the point is, what good is it going to be if you really don't have a defibrillator in each of those patrol cars? If something happens and the defibrillator is over in Chestnut Ridge in Sector 1, and then there's a call for a person having a heart attack up in Sloatsburg, that's defibrillator that's in a car over in Chestnut Ridge, which is Sector 1, and will never get up to Sector 10, which is Sloatsburg. And I know now you can get the Tuxedo Police, because they're up there, although the new radios, I'm told, are not, aren't the same and not working the same from the full band, what is it now, to a narrow band, Sergeant Lee. They're not going to be able to communicate with one another. You'd be surprised at what's going on in that police car, and I invite all of you, including the town board members, to take a ride sometime. You only have to stay maybe a couple of hours, or Chief, maybe an hour, Chief, for you, to see what your officers are doing. You would be amazed at the things that they come across and the job that they're doing. And this is why you've heard me say it before, and that was before I got this new title that I'm getting used to myself, that it is the best police department in Rockland County. Very professional, and they do a damn good job, excuse my French, but they really do, and I just want you to be proud of the job that they're doing. Thank you.
Well, without sounding like too much like self-promotion, but we have new board members here. We purchased those first defibrillators. I walked the long path, as you may remember, from Orangetown to Orange County. The long path goes up and down on the mountains, and to raise money to buy those defibrillators. So I think we should go off the state bid this time. It was a very strenuous task to do that. I didn't realize how much it went up and down and up and down. You go up to the top of the mountain, Orangetown, then you're down in the salt marshes, and you go back up to the top of the mountain. And I invited people to join me along the way. The only people that took me up on it were Elon Schoenberger, and a county legislator, and also Judge Schoenberger, Rhoda Schoenberger. And there was only one other person that joined me on that, and I have to say this because it's just kind of a funny story, because Peter Slews, I don't know if you remember him, he was a reporter.
Yeah.
Everything was a conspiracy, and so he didn't think I was actually walking the path, so he hid in the woods along South Mountain Road and jumped out from behind a tree as I was walking on the path, and scared the heck out of me. But this life-saving aspect of the defibrillators is fantastic. So I'm sure Lieutenant Gravina will be able to report back and go off the state bid and pick up as many as we need, and we'll filter the other ones down to other areas in the town. But I felt like I needed the defibrillators that day, Chief. Oh, it took a couple of days, but okay. Chief, you were making a report?
Thank you. We have a couple of folks here from NICOMCO. They'd like to discuss what's happening in the department. As the board's aware, we're in the middle of a transition between
Here, or you
the
want
new
to-
system and the old system.
Why don't you two sit right over there, and we'll pull them up between the two, so people at home. Since we're broadcasting live to everyone. Thank you. Mr. Evans.
Mr. Supervisor,
You want to make a presentation, you go from there? This mic is powerful enough to pick up everyone. Kevin, you can... Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Before we get started, if the town board would just be so gracious, just sort of let me get through these notes. I know there's probably be some questions. Radios are very confusing. It took me a long time to learn them, so I'll try to get this done for you as fast as possible. And then if you have any questions, be free to ask me.
Okay.
I'd like to introduce Bill Tuthill and Dave DeYoung. They're both of NICOMCO. I know the town is familiar with them because they also lease the radios to the other town departments. The best way to start this off is just so we understand, we did transfer over to a new system, but just sort of keep it in mind that There's two basic parts of the radio system. There's the outside the building system, which includes the cars, the mobiles, the portables, the hilltops, repeaters, all that. And then there's the in-the-building system. And the bulk of this new lease addresses really the in-building system that we are responsible for, whether or not we were on this new county system or we were maintaining our old system. So let me just get started. Historically, Ramapo PD has always leased its radio equipment through NICOMCO. Our current lease expired about 3 years ago, and we've been working on a month-to-month extension since then. The main reason we did that is because at the time, there were too many unknowns with this county system coming online. We didn't know how it was going to land here. We didn't know what that meant to us as far as what equipment we should be leasing. And it just didn't make sense to go into leasing all brand-new equipment that we might or may not keep for a very long time. That being said, because we haven't had a new lease extension, we've been working on the 3 years, month-to-month extension, our equipment now is getting old. And in particular, I'm talking about the inside building equipment that we are responsible for providing ourselves. And the purpose of this discussion is to discuss this lease with NICOMCO and to set forth a new agreement with them, okay? I just want to give you a current status of the new system. We've been working on the new county radio system now since July 1st. It seems to be going pretty good. We're working on 2 channels right now, our main PD dispatch channel and our operations channel, which we use for ballpark, special details, fireworks, etc. EMS is still operating on the older VHF system. We have a target date to bring them on live with the new system August 12th. We'll be ready at Ramapo PD for that. It's a matter of them receiving their equipment from the county. I believe Kim Lippis has to hand it all out to them. I understand from Adam Foyer those radios have all been programmed. Once EMS comes on live, they will be using the system, the new system and the old system. They will be using the old system for their paging tones and the new system for the actual voice transmissions for their dispatch. As of this date, the only county police agencies right now that are using the system besides us are Rockland County Sheriff, Town of Haverstraw, Town of Stony Point. Everybody else is scheduled to come online at various points in the next few months. It's really up to each PD when exactly they want to do that. Those 3 agencies could not narrowband, so they had no choice but to be on this system at a certain time. We chose to go on July 1st because we narrowbanded last fall. We learned very quickly what that did to our system. It wasn't very good. So when our extension was granted, we went back to wideband. Now that that's over, we had to re-narrowband that system, and we felt that this system would provide better coverage. So far, the results have been very good. The coverage is excellent. The officers are still getting used to hearing digital audio, which has a completely different sound effect to it. And any issues we're having, we're very confident will be addressed once the Grove Street Tower comes online and when we put this new lease in place and we update the in-building equipment, or in particular the consoles at the desk. Okay? The status of our older VHF radio system. It's still too early at this time to make a final determination what will become of that system. There's several reasons for that. Number one, we'd like to retain it for backup purposes until this new system is proven. I just learned this morning that an officer had to use the old radio system to call the desk because there was a little blip in the system that seems to have corrected itself. But nonetheless, thank God he had that radio in the car to still get through to the desk and let them know what he needed to let them know. The coverage of the new 700 megahertz system when you're in Rockland County is excellent. However, once you travel outside of Rockland County, it degrades rather quickly. I went up as far as Tuxedo PD one day. I turned on to Orange Turnpike there by the Tuxedo PD, and I lost that signal right away. So the older system will provide us much better coverage for those officers who have to travel to Orange County to pick up prisoners from the jails up there, or even down into New York City. And that's because it has great line-of-sight hillside coverage to those 2 locations. Also, several, as Mrs. Hunter alluded to, several non-Rockland County police agencies cannot raise us on this new system. I don't know if that'll be incorporated in the future or not, but right now, our Jersey border PDs, Montvale, Mahwah, Upper Saddle River, have always been able to call us on the VHF system. They cannot get onto this new system, okay? And the same thing as Mrs. Hunter alluded, Town of Tuxedo. They are able to call us on the old system, but not on the new one. Also, the older car radios allow us the ability to communicate with state police units when they're in the field, And until all the county agencies are on board with the new system, it is our only way to communicate with those agencies and/or scan them if needed. So currently in every car in the town of Ramapo, there are 2 radios. There is a old radio for the older system and a new radio for the new system. Portable radios, because it's very impractical to ask cops to carry 2 of them on their belt, they're pretty much just carrying the new ones, and we pretty much are not using the old ones on the system. So in sitting down with NICOMCO and going back and forth with Dave and Bill over the last few months to come up with this lease, we had a few challenges that we're trying to meet with this lease. One, we wanted to come up with a new lease that will give us better equipment, which will both work on the new 700 megahertz system for PD and EMS, utilize the old PD system when needed, and utilize the VHF system for EMS dispatch and paging. Come up with a lease that provides us with the most up-to-date in-building equipment, and also equipment that will also work within the soon-to-be redesigned ECC that we're working on as well. Okay? But the lease also needs to be adjustable, because as we go into the future and we make more determinations, we either might want to peel back the lease or move things on. So this lease that they propose to us is very scalable in either direction.
They've been giving us great flexibility, and we appreciate that. And not only great flexibility, but great service over the years. And I'm very impressed with your presentation, Chief. But go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The county has provided us equipment for the new system. So let's just keep in mind, again, it goes back to what's in our building and what's out on the road.
Just, I don't want to break up your presentation.
Sure, no problem.
But we have enough radios for all the ambulances, fire, they've covered everything and all of our needs as well?
Well, what the county has provided us is the 5 radio consolettes that bring that signal into the back room of the building. They've given us 60 mobile radios for our cars, and they've delivered 70 portable radios so far. They owe us another 9.
Okay.
Originally, they gave us 50. We went back, put a little pressure on them, said our bosses are not going to be happy with that. Please give us some more. They gave us another 20, and they're promising us another 9 soon to be delivered. All right, and that was our original, what we originally put in for was 79. So we were told that we would get that. Right now, we have 70.
I'm sorry, EMS and fire are going to work off the same channels, or just?
No, EMS and fire, well, the new system is really not channels so much as it is talk groups, and they will all work on the different talk groups, but on the same system.
And talk groups can be set up instantly and expanded and
Yes,
controlled, and then deleted.
Right.
So the fire department's communicating amongst themselves, that's going to interfere with your
No.
your talking?
No, it shouldn't, it won't interfere with us at all. It's-
Separate.
Yeah, these trunking systems are, I mean, Dave's better answering that question than I am, but trunking systems are extremely efficient, and Philadelphia uses a trunking system which actually, I believe, is less capable than ours, and uses a lot more agencies and people on it, and it still works very well for them. What we need to provide for ourselves right now, is to retain the old VHF mobiles in the cars. We need to keep, of the 79 portables we have for the old system, we need to retain 11 of them. 7 for REACT operations, because trunking does not work well for SWAT-type operations, and 4 for the Detective Bureau, so they can continue to monitor their body wire, which is what they use when they're doing control buys and everything else. Otherwise, all the other portable radios will be returned to NICOMCO when this new lease agreement is signed.
Are you making a recommendation as to the length of this lease? Or will you be?
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years?
7 years. The radio consoles at the ECC will work on both systems under the new lease. We have to add a dedicated consolette to the back room for our extra talk group. We were very lucky as a police department to get this extra talk group from the county. Not every department did. We pushed for it because of the fact that we do have the ballpark, we do have the fireworks show, and we are a large department, so the county granted us that extra talk group. But in order to use it the way it's designed to be used, we'll need to provide an extra consolette for that. And also we need to replace the remote desktops, which are units based around the station, which allow the supervisors to get on the radio as they need. The key points of this lease agreement is that it updates our radio consoles to a much newer IP-based radio technology. It's kind of nice because it could be moved at any time. If 4 times since I've been the supervisor of communications, we've actually had to leave the desk. Either electrical failure, we had a mold infestation at one time that was cleaned up, but 4 times we had to move off that desk. This is much nicer because where before we had to send people to headquarters to get back on the radio, we could just pick up these consoles and walk to the back room and be back on the radio in a very short time. It will fit into the new furniture that we're hoping to install into the ECC, and it provides all the radios, all the dispatchers with capability of getting onto the various radio systems while they're working. It also maintains our current VHF mobiles in the fleet, like I said, and it reduces the portables from 79 to 11. It provides the necessary consulate for our ops group, talk group that we were granted, and it provides all the needed equipment to broadcast and receive on all town radio frequencies that we currently use. And it reduces the monthly cost to the department of right now about $1,000 a month. If you look at the notes, I've included some pictures there. The first picture is our current radio console at the desk as it sits. As I mentioned, it's quite outdated. The second picture is part of the equipment the county gave us, which is to bring the signal into the building for the new system. The third picture is the old system. Most of that equipment you're seeing there will be removed and updated to much newer equipment. And the fourth picture, is the consolettes that the county did provide to us. They sit in our generator room. That's how the individual talk group channels get to our station. And the last one is a picture of what a remote desktop looks like so that a supervisor can get on the radio whenever they need to. And,
Sergeant, would it be possible for us to have Jack film these things to show to the people in the town, or is there any proprietary thing that we wouldn't want to show in the control center? Is something maybe you and Jack Setzenbaugh could go over and make
I'm sure that was possible, but the chief would have to grant the permission for that.
Yeah.
We do give tours.
just so
of the-
people in the town and in the whole county could see, what is entailed in it. I mean, we receive 60,000 calls through this center a year, so it's a busy area and it's tight, but I don't want to do anything that,
You think about it before and after, Mr.
Yeah,
Supervisor,
exactly.
what we have now, and now
Yep.
through your efforts, we've got this new system.
Yep.
If you don't have any questions from me, I'd like to turn
well,
it over to...
I just have a couple questions.
Sure, no problem.
The radios that officers are carrying on their lapel when
Mm-hmm.
out in the field, those are the ones that you said that digitally they're getting used to them, but those are coming in, they're working?
Yes, they are working.
Okay. And the dual system, I like the dual system because it gives us that backup, that redundancy.
Right.
And especially gives us the ability to communicate with neighboring police departments, because on my radio, I could be in New York City and I hear everything perfectly clear on our old system, and it's to hear that the new system, it drops off as soon as you're, in Tuxedo even. It's important, I think, to have that wider coverage that NICOMCO brings to us. So that's a concern I have, and I always have a concern of officers that get themselves in a tight spot. We've had, situations where you could be in someone's house and be an officer being attacked, as we had just recently in Hillcrest. We want to make sure that that lifeline of that communication is working, and presently you get to hear it on both systems. I know I now have two in my car,
Right.
and so. I think you've done an incredible job. You've laid it out nicely because it's detailed material, and I'm interested to see how the coverage changes when we get the tower on Grove Street, as to how that will work. And the 7 years, why would you want a 7-year contract?
What we did to try and keep the cost where it is now, because some of this new technology gets a lot more expensive than stuff that was put in back in 2005. We can kind of take a hit and stretch it out longer to keep your dollars where they are now.
So you want the ability to amortize some of those capital costs that you'll be going into on the equipment side?
Right. In a normal lease, we normally do a 5-year lease, so we get paid back for the equipment in a certain period of time. With a 7-year lease, that number would have been a lot higher for your monthly. We tried to fit in, we sat down with it.
So by adding on the 2 extra years, it gives you a better business model to give us more savings.
Right. Yeah, it's actually a worse business model for us because it's taking us longer to pay back. Because we lease in-house, so we don't go to a leasing company and they give us the money. So we basically hold the money on the console and the radios. The old radios are pretty much paid for, so we're taking those numbers down to basically a service contract, and we do removals and installs under our lease. So if Kevin gets a new car, we come down and take the old radios out, put them in the new car. There's no charge for that, so including the lease. Reprogram is when we did the narrow banding. We actually did it twice. We tried to put two at once, but we ended up doing it twice. There was no charge for that. We include those kind of things in the lease. So we're taking the dollars down to where we're really just covering those costs, you know, and covering the radio. But on the console side, that console would probably be another $2,000 or $3,000 higher if we went with a 5-year lease. But we get paid, you know, we can pay that off faster in a 5-year lease. We're willing to take the extra time to keep the dollars down for you guys by stretching it out over 7 years. And it's a type of investment with the console, it's not going to change a lot, where your mobiles might change like they just did with the new system. Consoles, this could be here 10, 15 years. So it's not really a 7-year or a 5-year investment. It's a long-term investment. At the end of 7 years, we're going to come back and say, if everything's still fine here, we're going to drop those numbers down because you paid a big share of that. We're going to take that cost down in 7 years. And then you can lease it for another 5, 6, 7 years, depending on what technology does at the time.
Or upgrade at that time.
Right, or upgrade and put it brand new, which is what we do most of the time.
So presently, you're under a month-to-month, so we would need to have a resolution to the, so if you will...
They have copies for you if you...
Great, so we'll have our attorneys review the contract, review the terms, and we will hopefully put this on the next agenda if the attorneys work out the
I think
logistics.
the key thing to remember with our lease, and most leases, we have full ownership of the equipment, so it's our responsibility. You guys don't own anything, so if there's something wrong, you call us. We come to fix it. It's cost to the town for any repairs, updates, upgrades. Even if a radio's damaged beyond repair, we replace it. The only thing we don't cover is lost theft and vandalism.
And Sergeant, they're timely in their service when
Oh,
they
they're
when you call
excellent.
them?
Excellent. I send an email in the morning, and I usually get a call sometime within a couple hours, or an email back saying they're taking care of it. I never have an issue. It's a pleasure dealing with Nyconco.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, was this,
Commissioner Ullman?
I know this is a lease, so we don't have to go out to bid, but have we checked around with other vendors?
Well, this is on the state contract, correct?
No,
Yeah,
we get into a lease day contract. at the-
Oh, on the lease, we don't.
Since I've been here, Nyconco is, last 20-plus years.
But you can address that question to the sergeant if you...
Well, no, it's been here 20 years, sometimes. You're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
20 years.
You might save a couple
Charlie
dollars
Asher used
and
to
get a
be
company
the-
that.
Charlie Asher.
True. Responds.
Yes, yes.
You're happy
I think he
with
still
the
has a house full down here in NUF.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sergeant Lee. I'm just curious, the system that we're currently on now, not since July, but before that, how many years have we used that system?
That system, I believe, went in the 80s sometime. The radio frequencies, the high band channels, sometime back in the 80s.
So this is the first time that we would actually have a new system that's much more efficient since the 80s, since 1980?
Well, I think it's been upgraded all along. We have our
The-
2 towers, east and west, and...
Yeah, there have been minor upgrades, and usually what we've done is every 5 years, we've released new repeaters, new everything. But again, in 2010, and we didn't know where we were going to find ourselves with this new county system. Now, we still don't have all the answers, but we have a lot more than we knew back in 2010. So we feel very strongly that we really need to upgrade the equipment. And I think the most important thing I could really stress is that when I speak of the radio consoles or the in-building side of this, this is something that we would have to upgrade at this point regardless of the new system or the old system. Even if we never even got this new system, we would be coming to the town board looking to upgrade our current equipment because that company that currently provides our radio consoles doesn't even exist anymore. It's been sold off, and that division has actually been sold off, and then basically it was like a patent sale. The company that bought it just basically wanted the patents, and they're not even interested in police communications anymore.
So that is, those
Guys.
particular radios are obsolete, is what you're saying?
The radio consoles, yes, at the desk are obsolete, and the parts, you cannot find new parts for them if you can track down used parts. So they really are due for an upgrade, and which we've always done every 5 years, except for this time we extended it to 8.
If I could take this moment, Councilwoman, during Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, one of our towers went down, and it was our CSEA workers, and Brian Spillman is the president of the CSEA is here, and some of his workers, and I think even on their own time, as a matter of fact, I think your son may have been involved in that as well, went up and cut their way through the debris to get to the tower and to reinstall communications. So I wanted to publicly thank you, Brian, and the CSEA workers who performed that heroic act right at a moment when our communications were impacted.
And that was no small feat, because they actually had to rebuild the motor on site.
Oh, they did rebuild the
Yeah.
motor on site?
It actually threw a piston, and they actually had to take it apart and rebuild that piston to get it back up. So it wasn't just like a spark plug change. It was actually a very complicated repair under pretty adverse conditions. So we were definitely very appreciative of it.
Oh, well done.
When
Yeah.
do you need this file? I mean, could this wait till the next meeting?
Can this wait to the next meeting, Sergeant?
August 15th.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Because I think purchasing should look through first.
Yeah.
Just to keep in mind that Dave has told me that there is an 8-week lead time to get the Zetron consoles ordered for us, and we're also looking to upgrade the ECC, so we wouldn't want to go much beyond that, because
Well,
we don't
I
wanna-
think that as these communications go on between purchasing and your department and the attorney's office, we get a better feel as to what they can then go ahead and order and not order, and then on our meeting on August 15th, we could work on that.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine to go to August 15th.
Any other questions for Sergeant Lee? Very good presentation, Sergeant.
Thank you, sir.
Is there
Thank you.
anything that you guys wanted to say that?
No, we're good. We're just here to support the town and the sergeant and everybody else.
Well, we really do appreciate all the service you've given to the town over these many years, and look forward to continuing good service. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming this morning.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief?
I have a request from REACT to use the quarry for a drill scheduled for October 24th of this year. And I don't know much about what they plan to do up there, but they're just,
I know they've been doing some underwater training from some of the departments. Stony Point has been there, and some of the fire departments, but that's fine with us, Chief, as long as we have the proper insurance indemnification, things of that nature. And presently, the Museum of Natural History has been there on several occasions. They're running a master's program class there at the quarry. There's some very old rock structures that are uncovered by the cut. They're called purple jellies or something, and they're very, very excited. The Museum of Natural History is very excited, and so they've been running classes there. So the quarry gets a lot of different types of uses, so that'd be another great use.
yes.
We never found the person that shed the bracelets and supposedly jumped into the quarry?
Yeah, no.
Supervisor, if REACT, they need to send us a insurance policy naming the town as an additional.
I think I said that. That we have to have the proper insurance indemnifications and policies.
No problem. I don't know if any of the board members have any questions, but I do have some things I would like to discuss during executive session, but if there's anything that you'd like to discuss now, Mr. Supervisor.
How long of an executive session, because there's people in the public here, maybe we want to let them know how long of executive session you think you'll have to take?
It could be probably 15 to 20 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes. Maybe before we go into, we will go into executive session in a minute, but before that, maybe, if there's anybody in the public that would like to address the police commission, raise their hand. Anyone like to speak? Motion to close public participation by Councilwoman Logan, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And people are certainly welcome to come back in. We'll go into an executive session, motion by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. We'll go into executive session for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll call everyone back in. Thank you. To number 8 on the agenda, and it's 8A, approval of an agreement with Harmony Hall Restoration, remediation of plans and specifications for Brooker Engineering. Just to give a quick synopsis to the board, we have a grant from the state for $350,000 to work on Harmony Hall. It's an historic house, and They, one of the grant was to put the roof on. When they went to put the roof on, they noticed that there was some damage on the corners of the building structurally. And so the state said that we could reprogram the grant money to work on that structural portion. And it starts off by having Brooker do this, so what that will be paid for toward the grant. And then the work that's done to shore up the structural part of the building will be paid for by the grant, and then whatever's left will go toward the roof. Good.
Lee did a memo which you should have been handed out with pictures.
Yep,
Yes,
we got it.
we have it.
We have it.
So 8A is the hiring of Brooker to do for $10,200 to do
Move
the
back.
design specs.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilwoman Logan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. And then B is the approval, you want to tell us, Lee, and that's the,
Change order.
that's the change order, that was the company that won the bid from the, we went out with the state and.
Correct. And then while we were on site, they found this stuff, and we had to allocate some funds to open and close the areas where there was that.
And once again, this will be reprogrammed.
It was up to 5,000, and that's why, I mean, we used 5,000 basically.
Yeah, that's what the change order.
Okay. Good. And once again, that will be paid for by the grant, will reprogram it, and we're having that ongoing discussion. Right? What-
We spoke with Aaron and Stacy at the state, and they authorized, we have a letter that it was an emergency, and they're willing to reprogram the money for the veranda work.
Fantastic.
100-something, and 78,000 to 80,000 to go for the repair work.
One
Great.
thing, from what he said, and Phil, once Brooker does his thing, it will go to Calandra, they'll tell us it'll cost X amount, then you go back to the state to make sure they'll approve that structural.
That's correct.
Great. Okay, moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Here we done. Okay, Alan, well, first we have the acceptance of the regular meeting for June 12th.
Logan?
Moved by Logan, seconded by Friedman. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Acceptance of the meeting for the regular meeting of June 20th.
Logan?
Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilwoman Logan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. And the regular meeting of June 26th.
Logan?
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Item number 3 is the town attorney, Alan Berman.
Approval of an agreement with R, with respect to, wetland mitigation, with respect to property adjacent to Pirates Memorial Drive, in the amount of $30,780.
Logan?
Okay, moved by Councilman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously.
Okay, 3A2, the community development approved 2 projects for the town, community development, Old Dyke Turnpike sidewalk and Harry Reeves Park walkway. We need to enter into an agreement with the county.
Logan?
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously.
3A3, the board, we received a request from FLG Company who operates Esther Dashu. We currently have a tax abatement agreement. They're getting new funding, a new mortgage from HUD, and they requested that they extend the agreement from 2015 to 2035, to extend it another 15 years, 2051.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan,
Logan?
seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously.
3A4 is the police department will be purchasing furniture for the new communication center and also floor work also in the police department. This will authorize the board to retain those 2 organizations, IBEX or XBEX, whatever, and High Tech, and the money will come from the 4 police departments the town has received.
Zybex.
IBEX.
Okay.
Logan?
Moved by Councilman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Okay, 3B is settlement of claim. A town highway department struck a vehicle driven, operated by an employee of famous Fisher Bunsey, and we're recommending be settled in the amount of $1,181.29.
The Fisher okay?
I believe there was no emergency.
Okay. Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously.
Okay, 3B2 is we previously settled a claim the town had against an vehicle during repairs. It determined that there were additional expenditures, so this will authorize us receiving additional money, going from $4,987 to $5,355.
Logan?
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
3C, the board had previously approved a resolution accepting the proposal of LaBounty to provide for the providing of insurance coverage for town property and equipment. We've added 2 additional properties since then, so we're increasing by a small amount the cost of the property insurance.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Okay, 3D, you previously, by resolution 2013, had granted a tax exemption for 75% to Talmud, Torah, or Yochanan. I made a mistake and not include their second property, so this would allow also an exemption for the second property, also for the same 75% for the year 2010, 2011. They are currently exempt.
Moved by
For later use.
Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously.
3 is settlement of a disciplinary matter involving the town board.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
3F1 is ending the appointment of a deputy town attorney as of July 1st.
Logan?
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman.
March Grenier, that would be March Grenier.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
F2 would be,
Yes.
F2 is
It's a
the
theme.
termination of the appointment of Richard Atkins as the deputy town attorney effective July 1st.
And that's a retirement. Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilwoman Logan. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries
And
unanimously.
also this abolishes those 2 positions.
And those 2 positions are abolished. Okay.
3,
Appointment of a hearing officer, moved by
Appoint Jonas Gelb as a hearing officer with respect to a disciplinary action against the town employee.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Okay, 3H is the town had previously purchased the Burgess Meredith property. The investigation revealed that there were necessary repairs for the leaking chimney. The board was told this is just authorized.
He did a great job, too. I looked at it.
Leaks chimney and
What was the amount of that?
$5,500.
He did a great job. Okay, moved by Councilman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
3I, you have a request, a company applied for a building permit on Layton Town Road. They decided not to proceed with it. They requested a refund of the entire building permit fee. I asked Mr. Malia to do a memo. He determined that he believes that you don't have to refund it, but if you want to refund it,
What was the total amount on that, Tony?
$2,571. Tony's recommending that we retain $1,000 for the work already done.
And that you think would cover the amount of work that our workers had put in?
And I'll put it on the next agenda because I don't have a resolution. unless you want me
We can make a resolution.
make it now.
We'll pay $1,000.
Well,
We will
it would be-
reimburse them and retain $1,000.
$1,571. You would get $1,571 back.
Logan?
Seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
3J is the board has a letter from a resident, or Sal Shulovic of Muncie Heights, who wants the board to authorize the extension of sewer service to 4749 Summit Avenue. Mr. Zarinko did a memo to you,
Mhm.
and he's here to explain it, but basically his preliminary cost is $30,000, and also, there's other issues, if you have any question, on that.
Ted, I read your memo. There's some other properties other than Mr. Strulovic who's made this request. There's some other properties there that aren't developed and may be in the future. And, you know, our goal is really always is to be increasing the amount of sewers that we have out there. Now, would some of this be, we're going to go to a county manhole on this. The closest one, I think, is in Spring Valley manhole there.
Yeah, this property is just east of the Spring Valley High School football field. You know, the rocks that line the opposite side of the viewing stands.
Yep, the east side of the
Yeah, it's on-
football field.
It's on top of that hill. The property is kind of shaped like this and dips down toward Old Ag Turnpike in the back.
And I think you mentioned that you didn't know if we could be gravity feed the whole way. We won't know that yet.
Yeah, we'll have
But is this a project that we should request from the county sewer project to work with us and to share some of these costs?
Well, we're going to need a permit from them in any event to hook into their sewer. That they maintain the sewer system for the village of Spring Valley, and this, it'll tie in directly to that. We think that we can extend approximately, I think it was 200 feet, or maybe it was 300 feet, I forget which. I'll look at my memo here.
How much of the property was, you think, excuse me, within Spring Valley was it a couple hundred feet? So shouldn't we get?
No, the properties are, it's right on the border. This is a unique property. The only access is from Summit.
Off of 59.
from South Pole Road, it's Summit Road, off of 59. The driveways to access the houses, I talked about in my memo, come right at the end of that road. It's a dead end, it's not even a T-turn road.
No, that's the old Dunlop house. That was the Dadle house.
Yeah, probably.
I just know the Waltham, I don't know who lived up there.
I think Peter Dadle lived there, and he went to Spring Valley High School. But when it goes from that property, it must go south toward the manhole or east, and does it go into, when it gets to the manhole in Spring Valley, it must be within the village of Spring Valley?
Yes, right in the village of Spring Valley.
How far from that manhole to the border of the town of Ramapo? On the linear feet that we would have to put in?
It's about 100 feet.
And how much the total, I think, was like 600?
Well, to reach the furthest property, which we definitely will not be able to get by gravity, it's about 800 feet.
So, what, you think the cost would be $30,000, but I think we should ask the county to share some of that cost.
Well,
And we could put we can put in our resolution that we request, what do you think would the appropriate amount for them, 25% of the project?
I'd like to study that and report back to the board.
Okay, let's do that. So you don't need to take an action today, this is just a discussion.
This is,
So why don't you tell them we're pursuing it, but we're also pursuing how we want to allocate the cost. Maybe it should be 50/50 with the sewer district,
yeah.
you know,
And just so the board is clear that there's one house with people that are living in right now that need to get service. The other property that's under his control, I think, is vacant. The house is vacant. And there's 3 other houses that are under another company's control, and they have not asked for sewer service yet.
the house that it needs it right away,
Yeah.
do we need to have them pump out their septic one more time, or do we ask the county sewer district? I mean, I know as a sewer commissioner in the county, we have pumped out a lot of properties in Hilburn and Sloatsburg at the cost to the sewer district because it's a health issue, and we want to make sure, especially if we're putting service in that direction.
Yeah, I'll find that out when we research this, and I'll talk to the sewer district about that. He did say in his letter to us that, he's had to pump out his septic system every month and a half or so, every couple of months. So, I don't know how when the last time it was that he pumped it out.
Okay, good, so you'll give us an update on that.
Yes.
Great.
And the last time, attorney item is 3K, is authorizing the town to pursue litigation to recover our expenses due to an injury to a town employee.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Nat, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Let me properly, Deputy Director of Finance, Nat Overman. Okay.
5A1 is a joint terrorism task force funds of $1,433.52.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
A2 is a receipt of creating healthy places to live, work, and play grant of $13,000.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
A3 is a receipt of Rockland County grant for Lake Suzanne Emergency Action Plan of $15,500.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
5B is the establishment of the new rate for the central garage repairs when our mechanics work on cars. That
Move-
would go from $20 to $90
Moved
per
by-
hour.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see our Director of Purchasing here, so I'll do the, you want to do the purchasing? Go right ahead.
Today is the purchasing department soliciting bids for the purchase of water.
Our Director of Purchasing is here. So timely. Thank you, Ted. No problem. Our Director of Purchasing, Mona Montel.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board. Item, that's a good question.
You-
6A1.
6A1 on the agenda is acceptance of the bid for the purchase of auto and truck parts and service. We're asking you to accept the lowest responsible bid as noted in the resolution.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Item 6A2 on the agenda is in reference to the paving and striping of various lots and driveways, removal of various curbs, and replacement of landscape. We're asking you to accept the bid of Tilcon as listed in your resolution.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, and then then for discussion. Moved second by Councilman Friedman. Yes.
An issue. The total price is over $1 million. Mr. Zarenko is working with Parks and Rec Department to schedule it. The question is the funds, because this will be, what I understand, and Mike Brown is here, it'll be reimbursed by FEMA, but
We lay out the money as we've been doing on all the FEMA projects. So we'll have to identify out of one of the paving bonds which one we're going to take it out of. I got you. All right.
Already a paving done?
I think there's a paving, yeah, you could put paving bond down on that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Logan.
Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Now we'll bring back our Director of Public Works, Ted Zarenko.
And it'll be very brief because the update was, thank you. The update was that we received the bids for the parking lot paving for the 7 locations.
Oh, good. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Item number 9 is the authorization for the installation of one fire hydrant in the subdivision off of Viola Road. Moved by Councilwoman Logan, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. I just want to see, I'd like to make a motion that we intervene on the United Water rate case. Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilwoman Logan. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And I think that's all I have. And I'll recognize Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just to let you know what's going on around the town, we have, for our local baseball fans who cannot be at the Provident Bank Park in person, they will no longer miss any of our exciting games and all the action to this historic undertaking because of our supervisor. We now have our games telecast on our Optimum's Channel 78, and they will be live, correct?
Starting tonight.
Starting tonight. Tonight, Thursday, July 18th at 7 p.m., it will be Winnipeg Gold Eyes versus the Rockland Boulders. So please tune in to Channel 78, and you'll get to see our Rockland Boulders live on Optimum TV Channel 78. The event's happening from July 18th to July 20th. Of course, we have a special showing of our summer blockbuster, Despicable Me. That will be at our famous Lafayette Theater at 2:15, 4:45, and 7:30. A matinee will be at 2:15 p.m. All tickets are $8. And I just want to get a shot of the Despicable Me characters. Everyone loves them. If you're not familiar with them, the kids absolutely love them, and please bring them out. I believe that we have had the historic Lafayette, our largest movie theater in Rockland County, which has over 1,000 seats. And we always sell out, but the last 2 showings that we've had at our theater have sold out. So we just want you to come, please, and enjoy the show. Again, the matinee tickets are $8, $2.15 on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So please come out and bring the children. Again, that's Friday, July 19th through Sunday, July 21st, and again, Monday, July 22nd through Thursday, July 25th. On Saturday, July 20th, the world-renowned jazz guitarist Cheryl Bailey in concert at the Torn Valley Vineyards. That's 1 Tornbrook Road in Hillburn at 7 p.m. If you have any further information, please call 845-712-5505. And also on Saturday the 20th, it will be a ceremony featuring the world-renowned sculptor Karen Worth, donating a commemorative medal she designed in honor of the 44th anniversary of the first moon landing, 1:30 p.m. at the Ramapo Challenger Center, 225 Route 59 in Airmont. And please, besides this event that we'll have at the Challenger Center, please bring the children to the center because we have a lot of exciting moon missions that the young people can take advantage of at our Challenger Center. And we have a lot of young people who are interested in astronauts and space. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity during the summertime to take advantage of taking the children to the Challenger Center when you're looking for some place to take the kids.
Fantastic.
And that's it.
Before we close, I just want to clarify it and maybe have another vote on 4D, and that was a personnel administrator. I did not mention the salary of $141,807. So 4D was moved by
Logan.
originally?
Moved by Logan, seconded by Friedman.
Okay, so we'll vote on that again, 4D as amended with the stating the salary.
It's in the first resolution, and you don't want
Yeah.
to do that first? No.
No, I just didn't say, you just amended
Just
and
amend it.
for that amount. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Okay, with that, I think we're done with all of our new business. Of a motion to adjourn?
Logan?
Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilwoman Logan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. We're adjourned.